A very warm welcome, everybody, to this second edition already of the EEC Business Forum. My name is Hans van den Born. I'm the Executive Director of the Netherlands Thai Chamber of Commerce, and we are the leading organization for this particular forum. But as always, when we organize joint foreign chamber business events, we do that together, of course, with our bilateral chambers, and some of them are also represented here in the audience. So thank you all for that support and working together. The EEC Business Forum has a title this year of Reconnecting the International Business Community with the Eastern Economic Corridor. And when you analyze the words about reconnecting, I noticed yesterday when we had the first day, it was nice to see people reconnecting in life again. It took me quite some time to convince people, can you please stop your conversation? We need to start the program. People really crave for these kind of physical live events. And I think what we see this morning as well, thank you all for joining us in this morning part. We have, of course, a whole day program. But it's what I noticed, that we were all looking for opportunities to reconnect again. Reconnect, because that is also what we do in, let's say, our normal life. And for doing business, before you sign any contract, you want to look into the eyes of the people you sign contract with, right? And not always with a screen in between. So thank you for that. Reconnecting also means the connectivity. And yesterday, connectivity as a theme, we zoomed into the digital connectivity. Our friends of DEPA were so kind to open up their office in the Digital Valley, where we had a hybrid event, well attended as well, where we saw the future of, let's say, DEPA's Digital Valley and the plans on connectivity. And it's not only about 5G and those technical terms, but there's much more the story behind it. We have recorded all these versions and these sessions, so you can always see that back. So that was yesterday's event, where we also had another connectivity element from the Lam Chabang port. Now, when we talk international, we know that the port is very important, and Lam Chabang port is, of course, no exception. We had an interesting conversation also on the expansion plans of the Lam Chabang Phase 3. And Gulf Energy, probably a company you're all aware of, has some very futuristic plans, and they shared the ideas yesterday. So we are noticing Thailand is sort of preparing itself for future growth, and in particular the EEC area. And that is, of course, why we are here, within the heart of the EEC, Chonburi province. So we're very pleased to have those topics as well addressed being today. So continuing the conversation on connectivity, today we will have an overview by Dr. Luxmon from the EEC office. She will give a general overview of what the EEC area and the EEC office can support international business with. After that, we have Edmond Lim over here, and he will zoom into the airport city concept and what U-Tapao futures plans are. Very interesting as well. I had the opportunity to look at all the slides. So I hope we also inspire you, and we will show you, let's say, what this part of Thailand has, let's say, in store for us. As I mentioned, this second edition, we have also major support from other organizations. Some of them are here, some of them are with us in their mind, but I think it's nice to mention them. DEPA, of course, has been mentioned already as the host of yesterday's event. EEC office, thank you very much for the support we have received also for the coordinating and finding the right speakers. Our friends from the BOI, where would we be without the BOI, especially the international business, the Thai Chamber of Commerce, the Board of Trade, all friends of the international, let's say, business community. And again, also the bilateral chambers under the JFCCT umbrella. They have also been instrumental in reaching out to their members and sharing this opportunity to hopefully inspire and to share some knowledge. What we will also would like to say thanks to is the kind hospitality, of course, of this venue, Renaissance Pattaya. I'm not sure you've been here before, but it's really a nice, beautiful resort with nice venues, as this is one of their biggest ballroom as well. Tonight you will see also at the deck, which is the networking cocktail event, why we have chosen this particular venue, because it is really stunning, the views you will see, hopefully, if the weather helps us a little bit. So that was the only task for the GM of the hotel, make sure tonight it will not rain. So that was basically his job description for today. Let's see what comes out of that. This afternoon, we also have some other speakers, and we will zoom into the, let's say, the public view on the EEC. We will also have the Deputy mayor of Pattaya, explaining what Pattaya Move On will mean. I think we all follow the news, especially us as international business members. What will be the new, let's say, opening rules for Thailand? Will my country be allowed? Will my citizens be allowed? How easy will the flow of, let's say, future travel look like? Now, Pattaya has its plans, and we will probably hear today what this part of Thailand will share with us. Then we'll move on to a panel discussion, and the panel discussion will give us an overview from the, let's say, the private sector. So the private sector, the investors, the companies already registered here, already working here, some for many, many years. They will share their views, their expansion plans, but also the reasoning why EEC gives them the opportunities, as we always hear. So I think a balanced program, and like I said, at 6 o'clock we'll have a networking event at the beach. When we say thanks to all the participants and thanks to all the organization, there are a few I really would like to highlight in particular. This kind of events would not be made possible with the extreme helpful support. Pisai, thank you for TCEP. So can I have a round of applause for TCEP? Fantastic. We also are very proud to have the major sponsor for today's and yesterday's event of Signify. Kunjakan, thank you very much, the Managing Director of Signify Thailand. You might have noticed two devices here in the front. Devices of Biopolis, Dutch technology, UVC lighting, cleaning the air, cleaning from molds, cleaning from viruses. I'm sure you will get some more information in the booth in the foyer, but can I have a round of applause for Biopolis for making the air in our meeting room also as clean as possible. And last but not least, our friends from Upbeat Trailers, they will be here this afternoon. They will show their trailers and their demonstration models. You will see that later. But we will start with the video of TCEP as a thank you video and also to explain to the audience what TCEP is all about. So can we have the video of TCEP, please?
These days, a diverse range of business problems that involve production, innovation and services can be solved through MICE business. Meetings, incentive trips, conventions, exhibitions, mega events and world festivals. At present, over 8,000 international meetings and exhibitions take place annually in Thailand. The number of domestic and international MICE travelers attending events in Thailand averages 30 million per year, generating over 5 billion baht in revenue and accounting for 3.27% of the country's GDP. Up to 320,000 people are employed. MICE events provide a stage for business exchanges and inspire entrepreneurs to exchange ideas and develop business. Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau Public Organization, or TCEB, is a government agency under the supervision of the Prime Minister. We are a strategic partner to help drive MICE business and mega events and world festivals in Thailand. TCEB provides MICE information to the private and government sectors, as well as students and the general public. It also provides facilities for those who would like to exhibit goods and hold meetings. By cooperating with all partners in order to drive MICE events to be a stage where business opportunities and business investment can be discussed. With this in mind, TCEB sets its principal goals as follows. Developing the economy by bringing international events to Thailand, as well as creating jobs and events in every province. Organizing marketing activities and creating a positive image of Thailand for all nations to recognize that Thailand is the prime destination of choice for international MICE events. Developing all aspects of organizing business events, facilitating product imports, visa applications, as well as offering a special MICE lane at immigration checkpoints for MICE participants and preparing MICE manuals. distributing income to all sectors by providing knowledge, giving advice to create more jobs, and harnessing the strength and uniqueness of local communities. Developing venue standards with hygiene guidelines, as well as enhancing the skills of entrepreneurs and staff in order to organize events smoothly. Using innovation and information to support events efficiently and organize them more conveniently. Following these guidelines, Thailand can be a renowned center for organizing business events that use innovation to drive the nation's economy on par with worldwide trends. TCEB develops and supports all types of business to build trade and investment opportunities, as well as expand Thai products and services, to become well known internationally and distribute prosperity to every province. Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau drives MICE to ensure Thailand's economy grows sustainably.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for TCEB. Next would be Signify, our main sponsor for this event. Can we see the video of Signify, please?
What if your public lighting could enhance your city's appeal? What if you could attract tourism and boost the economy with sites that always look spectacular? What if you could use your lighting installations as a way to engage with citizens and visitors? Introducing Interact Landmark. Keep your dynamic public lighting fresh and relevant. Make your buildings, bridges, and monuments stand out on the city skyline. Generate excitement and civic pride with dynamic light shows that you can manage using a single dashboard from anywhere in the world. Remotely monitor and configure all of your city's landmark lighting. Enjoy peace of mind with accurate reporting and real-time system insights that ensure reliable performance. Rapidly resolve system issues with remote fault detection and automatic updates through the cloud. With Interact Landmark, you can manage all your lighting via one dashboard. Collect and share data about operations and activities. Securely store and analyze all your data in the cloud to generate new insight. Use APIs to create new applications and services. And integrate lighting data with data from other sources. Interact Landmark helps create a unique identity for your city, beautifies public spaces, boosts civic pride, encourages tourism, and attracts investment and commerce. But don't take our word for it. Interact Landmark.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for Signify, please. Our next sponsor video we have is Biopolis. Can we please see the short video of Biopolis? Thank you very much, Biopolis. Khap khun mak khap. Thank you. And last but not least, our friends from Upbeat Trailers, they will be here in the afternoon. They also submit a nice video. Upbeat Trailers, thank you very much. Kap. All right. We're about to start the first presenter, Dr. Luxmon, but before we do that, some small instructions for the online viewers as well. Welcome and joining us in this online session. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise them in the chat box. I'm going to wave to the online viewers over there. And for the audience in the room, you can always raise your hand, and my lovely colleagues on the right, left will be walking with microphones, and you can ask the questions. I think it's about time for Dr. Luxmon of the EEC office to share with her presentation the views of the EEC office. I'm sure there will be some points which we know, but I'm also seeing some new elements as well. Dr. Luxmon, the floor is yours, and welcome again. Kap.
So good morning, everyone. I think I'd rather be here than up there. Right, so it is my pleasure to be here with you all today and to update you on the EEC. I think it was 2 years ago that we met. Last year, last year, yeah, but a lot has happened since then anyway. Can I have the presentation, please? Okay, great, yeah. Just to recap, how do we recap? Whoa. Oh, whoa. Okay. Just to recap the EEC, we cover 3 provinces in the eastern part of Thailand, and on this slide you can see that EEC is very important to the Thai economy. So actually, many of you are contributing a lot to the Thai economy. 3 provinces account for almost 15% of Thailand's GDP. And going forward, if we need to uplift the Thai economy from the pandemic, EEC will contribute a lot. Right. Okay. Yes. So first of all, infrastructure. You already heard from Lam Chabang, I believe. And today you hear from the U-Tapao airport as well. These are all important infrastructure projects. So basically what we have been doing is that we are preparing several kind of infrastructure for investment in the EEC area. First is transport infrastructure. So for transport infrastructure, things are going pretty good actually. For the high-speed rail, we already signed a contract 2 years ago. The Attapich seaport, which is the phase 3, is a liquid terminal, already work ongoing. U-Tapao, we signed the contract during the pandemic, and now a lot of progress. And Lam Chabang contract to be signed by the end of this month or the beginning of next month, the latest. So all this, I say, it's the multimodal connectivity that is the very distinct advantage of EEC and Thailand as well. Let's have a look at each of the project closely. For the high-speed rail, at the moment, this year, 2021, what we have been doing a lot is that we are clearing the land to be handed over to the private sector. And next year, the beginning of next year, construction will begin. You will see construction, especially from Suvarnabhumi out to U-Tapao area. And by 2025, testing and operation. One thing that I like to explain to you about the high-speed rail project is that there are sort of three parts to the high-speed rail. The first part that is ongoing at the moment is the airport rail link. Already there is an airport rail link in Bangkok. This will be part of the high-speed rail line. So this year, this month actually, the airport rail link is transferred to the operator of the high-speed rail. It will be operated by the company by the last quarter of this year. And then next is the part from Suvarnabhumi out to U-Tapao. This part construction will begin the beginning of next year. So we are handing the land to the private sector to begin the construction. This part is not too complicated. Most of the land belongs to the State Railway of Thailand anyway, so it is not complicated. But the complicated part is actually Don Mueang to Payathai, which is in the middle of Bangkok. As you can imagine, there are many infrastructure that we need to move out of the way. So work is ongoing to move some of the electricity line, the pipe out of the way. And that will be the last part that will be completed. But to me, I think the most important part would be from Suvarnabhumi out to U-Tapao. That is the most important part. So as you can see, works ongoing at the moment. Very good progress. Right, and this is very interesting, Lam Chabang. Lam Chabang itself is just an expansion of phase 3. But the connectivity of Lam Chabang that we have in mind, that we are preparing, that we are working on, is the most exciting part, I would say. So we plan that Lam Chabang will be kind of the center of connectivity. At the moment, the Ministry of Transport is working on many of the dry ports throughout Thailand. These dry ports will facilitate flows of freight goods so that goods can be transported seamlessly, smoothly from our neighboring countries and to our neighboring countries and to other countries as well. And another exciting project, I would say, is the Southern Economic Corridor. I think next year you will hear a lot more about Southern Economic Corridor because the government is going to focus on that. And that will enhance EEC even further. Because with the Southern Economic Corridor project, as you can see here, we will have a kind of gateway open up to South, to Andaman Sea and to South Asia. With this connectivity to Lam Chabang, I think it will give Thailand tremendous opportunity as the prime gateway of Asia, as the connectivity, main connectivity point of mainland ASEAN. So all this is happening, the Chumphon, Ranong, there, connectivity there is the heart of Southern Economic Corridor. At the moment, feasibility study is being done. Right, so apart from transport infrastructure, we also prepare digital infrastructure in the EEC area. And as you already know, yesterday you visited DEPA, so already heard a lot about the 5G and digital infrastructure. All 100% of EEC area is covered by 5G signal. But when I say 100% covered, people might say no. Yes, you can walk this way and you have 5G, but then you walk another direction, you don't have 5G. That's true. But what I mean is not for consumer like us. 5G that is covered 100% is for the business factories. That is more important because for us, 5G is very important for Industry 4.0, for automation, for business purpose. I would say for us, we notice very little difference between 4G and 5G. I mean, you download music, you download movies faster, but nothing much. But for businesses, for factories, much more important. For Signify, for example, that would be very important, 5G. And one exciting, well, two actually, projects that we are expanding from 5G is the common data lake. So EEC together with related agencies are working to create common data lake in the EEC. So data from government officers, from local authorities will be in the common data lake. We are also trying to find incentives for the private sector to share data with us in the common data lake. Imagine all those data in one data lake. If you have access to those data, it's more than gold. So many business opportunities can come out of the common data lake. Another project that I talked about is the 5G for community. So we are having pilot projects. The first one is in Ban Chang area that we do kind of smart community. So smart community is smaller than smart city, but basically it's the same concept. How do we use 5G for smart city? We are piloting that in Ban Chang community. And also in Pattaya, we are rolling out a pilot project as well. And in Cha Cheong Sao also have a pilot project, especially on road safety. Very interesting projects around 5G. And yesterday when you visited DEPA, Digital Valley is part of the number one there is the Digital Valley, but the whole area is going to be developed into a digital park or EECD, and the project should be out for bidding next year. So we are still working on the structure of the project, whether it's going to be the whole PPP project or not, or are we going to develop bit by bit? But I can tell you that this is very exciting opportunities for private investment, definitely, to participate with us in the digital park. At the moment, we have a lot of interest from data centers, data center companies. They would like to have data centers in the EEC digital park. Another interesting thing, I don't know whether you visited yesterday, was the GISDA. GISDA is in the area as well, and GISDA is doing a lot of work around space technology. Actually, GISDA is working with Airbus on the THEOS satellite. So there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of related business with satellite and space technology that will be developed into the future together with Airbus and many other companies from Europe. And the last kind of infrastructure that we are working on in the EEC is R&D and innovation infrastructure, basically concentrate in the EECI in Rayong province. A lot of progress in EECI. And we hope that next year we can open EECI to showcase because next year Thailand hosts APEC. And we hope that we can open EECI for APEC delegation next year. A lot is going on at the moment. Very interesting would be around the Biopolis. I'm very excited about the Biopolis because whenever I talk to investors in food, in biotechnology, in medicine, they ask a lot about biorefinery pilot plant and also the greenhouse plant factory. This is very important. The synchrotron facility, another interesting project. It will take time to be completed, but very important facility. The sandbox and what we say kind of playground. There are 2 sandbox at the moment in the EECI. One is for the automated vehicle. Another one is for drone. So we have 2 sandbox that companies can do testing in EECI. And the zinc iron battery pilot plant is ongoing as well. So the future of battery, we are trying to move away from lithium. And let's see what kind of material we can use for battery. Right, so we prepare all this infrastructure for investment. In particular, I think you already know our 12 targeted industries. But because of the pandemic and how the world is moving forward so fast, we look at the trends, post-COVID trend, and we think 3 very, very important trends that we see. One is green recovery. At the moment, every country is talking about green policy, whether it be Europe, US, China, Japan, everyone talking about green. Digitalization, that we already know last year, acceleration of digital adoption, and things have changed a lot in many, many fronts. Bio-revolution is probably not as well known as the other 2 trends, but bio-revolution is happening really, really fast. With the mRNA vaccines, for example, that is one example of how fast things are moving. So with the post-COVID trends, which is global trend, and Thailand own policy, at the moment, if you go to any government agencies, you will hear BCG, BCG. Everyone is talking about BCG, which is an important policy of the government, and it's going to be the theme for the APEC next year as well. So what is BCG? Basically, B is bioeconomy, coincides with bio-revolution definitely. C, circular economy. G, green economy. So green revolution. Thailand is, tagging along with the global trend, and we emphasize all this. With government BCG policy, we can see the emphasis in many industries: agriculture, food, biochem, pharma, medical, circular, and creative economy. These are the sort of definitions of BCG of the Thai government. For us, our mission is to promote investment in 12 targeted industries. But how the 12 targeted industries fit in the framework of the global trend and BCG? This is how we see. So basically, the 12 targeted industries are clusters into 3+1 clusters. First is around health and well-being, very, very clear. And this is basically more of the B of the BCG, ranging from agriculture to food for the future, biotechnology, medical. Then digital, definitely very important. And I would say actually digital cut across every industry. But by itself, we see a lot of emphasis in automation, robotics, in intelligent electronics, and also in defense as well. Don't forget that defense is one of our targeted industries. The third cluster, the new cluster that I told my colleagues that we cannot forget is very important, is decarbonization. And leading this cluster is the next generation automotive. which I will talk about a little bit more later. And also other businesses, energy business, renewable energy, carbon management, recycling, upcycling business, all this is around decarbonization. And to me, I would say smart city is also part of the decarbonization theme as well. And the plus one is logistic. Because of the geographical advantage of Thailand and EEC and the multimodal transport connectivity that we have in Thailand and in EEC, I think logistics is one good opportunity for investment in the EEC. We have, in the past 2 years, especially during the pandemic, disruption to logistics supply chain, we have conversation with several lead players in the world logistics system, and they think Thailand and EEC, especially because we are in between Suvarnabhumi and U-Tapao and Lam Chabang, is very appropriate area for logistic hub, for distribution hub. So this is another exciting area. Right, so let's go deep into each of the theme. The health and well-being. I always say that we have two, in Thai words, we call Phra Ek, like the heroes for this theme. One is EECI, and another one is the Genomics Thailand project. So these are the two sort of magnet projects for the health and well-being theme. With these two magnet projects, so many business opportunities arise. So for EECI, like I mentioned earlier, the Biopolis is very exciting because the bio-based pilot plant that we are building at the moment will be a good facility for companies to share, can do biorefinery, fermentation, bio-extraction at the bio-based pilot plant. You don't have to invest in your own facility, so you can share the facility in the Biopolis. And at the moment, there are so many companies interested in the plant factory and greenhouse because, you know, and I don't know if you know, during the pandemic, we found that Phatalai is one of our herbal Thai herbs, can be used for curing COVID-19. And there are also other herbs found in other countries as well. In China, they also found the same. It's same species of our Phatalai in China. So the focus on herbs and plants for well-being, for therapy into the future is huge at the moment. But to be able to do that, those plants must be planted, must be cultivated in a kind of controlled environment so that the extraction process can be done efficiently. So we have a lot of interest in our plant factory and greenhouse technology at the moment. The synchrotron Thailand, I'm not sure if I told you about it last time when we talked. This particular machine, it produces light sources, and each of the light beam contributes to different things. And one of the light beam I learned from a colleague from the UK, that particular light beam from the synchrotron machine can be used to research on cancer. And they have developed a prototype of a kind of therapy machine for cancer. So very interesting opportunities around these facilities that we prepare for investors in the EEC area. And these are all about health and well-being. Another project is the Genomics Thailand project. the starting point of this project is where we are going to sequence 50,000 whole genome of Thai citizens. The project was up for bidding last year, and by the end of this month or beginning of next month, we are going to announce the winner of the project. And then next year onwards, the genome sequencing process will begin. Again, when I talk to companies in this particular sector, they told me that there are so many business opportunities coming out of this genome sequencing project. Therapeutics, manufacturing, R&D. So if you have any colleagues in this particular area, please invite them to talk to us. Because once we start sequencing the genome data, all this data, we will allow private sector to have access to under terms and conditions, of course. But with access to this data, they can do drug discovery. They can do precision medicine, R&D, and also ultimately, we can also have investment in regenerative medicine, precision medicine hospitals. And also personalized medicine will be another very important area coming out from genomes data of people. To do all this, we need to change rules and regulation. We need to create appropriate regulatory environment for the private sector. It is new and we do not yet know many things. So we are inviting private sector to have discussion with us so that we can make sure that the framework that we are working on will not prohibit them from businesses. Now move to the 5G or the digital sector. So many opportunities from 5G in many areas, as you can see from this slide. At the moment, we are doing a lot of pilot projects for 5G use case with business communities. One particular cluster is on automation. So we are working a lot with companies to pilot the automation production line, automated production lines for companies. We target that by the end of next year, 10,000 factories in the EEC area will go automated and using 5G technology. At the moment, the most active participants are actually Japanese companies who are working with us to upgrade facilities. We also work a lot on training and human resource development, and we welcome participation from companies to work with us on this front, because going into the future, we need to upskill the workforce to be able to manage Industry 4.0. Right, and decarbonization. As mentioned earlier, next generation automotive is one of the forefront sector under decarbonization theme. But overall, I would say is sustainable mobility. At the moment, we also have many conversations around sustainable aviation as well. What is sustainable aviation? It's about new kind of fuels that is less carbon polluted. It's about hybrid plane. Hybrid plane meaning using electric power together with fuel. And also already they have tested an electric plane for 8 passengers size. And that is very exciting. So around sustainable aviation, next generation automotive, and electrification of railway system is under sustainable mobility as well. For green and circular, at the moment, I know that so many companies require green energy when they come to Thailand. They require green energy. So a lot of investment in the renewable energy will be needed. And smart city. Basically, in a smart city, we want to make sure that green economy, green living is part of the smart city. So for the next generation automotive, Thailand has already announced the policy of 30 at 30, meaning that by year 2030, 30% of automotive produced in Thailand will be ZEV. What is ZEV? ZEV meaning that zero carbon emission kind of vehicle. So battery EV, basically. To do that, to make sure that we can achieve that, what we are working a lot on right now is that we are rolling out charging stations throughout Thailand. And we are rolling out charging stations in EEC very quickly as well. So the roadmap for the 30 at 30, as you can see, we aim that we will be eventually have investment in battery manufacturing in Thailand. And to do that, to achieve this, we have already worked on supporting facilities in the EEC. We have this automotive and the testing research innovation center in Chha Cheong Sao province. And we also have the tube-suit facility in Chonburi in this province as well. And the charging station will be rolled out. Next year will be really fast, 300 plus stations in EEC area. And the Biopolis, we have the, as I mentioned, we have the sandbox for autonomous driving vehicle. Also, we are having a lot of conversation with companies around hydrogen technology as well, because people are now looking beyond battery, and especially Japanese and European companies are now looking at hydrogen. So we are working on a pilot hydrogen charging station in EEC area. One will be actually in Pattaya area. So next year we will work on that. Right, green and circular economy. We do a lot of pilot projects around green and circular economy in the EEC. We aim to provide 30% green electricity in the EEC. And we are having a lot of renewable energy projects at the moment. We have the total waste management project that we rolled out in Rayong and in Pattaya, and we hope to roll out more in the EEC area. So basically, waste to energy project when we say total waste management. And in the Ban Chang Smart Community area, we have a lot of clean energy solutions in Ban Chang. And we, together with the Federal Thai Industry and the Thai Greenhouse Gas Organization, will roll out the carbon credit trading platform by the end of this year. So companies will be able to trade carbon credit from the end of this year onwards. Right, the smart city. Smart city comprises 7 smarts, and if we look at the 7 smart, I would say a lot of the 7 smart involves circular and low carbon society. That's why I say smart city is part of the decarbonization theme. And next year, there will be big announcement on smart city development in the EEC area. I cannot tell you yet, but wait until the beginning of next year. And there'll be so many opportunities for private sector to participate in the new smart city projects of EEC. Right, the multimodal transport. this is why I say logistics is an advantage area of EEC. Because of the connectivity that we have, because of the synergy with the Southern Economic Corridor that we have, and also the connectivity with our neighboring countries. Just a recap of what I mentioned earlier. And not only the multimodal transport connectivity, but because we have all these infrastructure in digital, in today's world, logistics is not about the transport itself, but it's about digital technology as well. And if we look at the whole loop of logistics, we'll see the advantage that we have in the EEC and the facilities that we have. And that is why many companies think that EEC area is very suitable for logistic hub. So U-Tapao International Airport will be an important hub for air cargo and will be a very important hub for express services. Whereas the Chachoengsao area, at the moment, many companies are looking to have distribution center. Because Chachoengsao, because it's close to Suvarnabhumi, when U-Tapao is not yet ready. But once U-Tapao is ready, Chachoengsao is just in between the two airports. And since last time we met, we have announced a few more promoted zones. We have new Ban Chang Innovation District as our promoted zone at the moment. And for the targeted industries, the industrial estates, we have announced six more as well. No, 4 more of industrial estates to be targeted promoted zones. So each year we add more promoted zones, announce more. Basically, they apply to be promoted zones with us. What does it mean to be promoted zones of the EEC area? Companies who are with us in our promoted zones will benefit from these things. Last week, the EEC board already approved in principle the EEC incentive package, which is different from the BOI incentive. The BOI will be kind of a pre-announced incentive. You know what you get if you fall into each of the categories. But for the EEC incentive package, the board approved in principle that it is a tailor-made package. So the Secretary General can negotiate with companies one by one to give special incentives differently. That is EEC incentive package. And we also work a lot on regulatory sandbox and guillotine. We have worked with many companies to make changes to rules and regulation, propose changes to rules and regulation. You might not notice because the changes in rules and regulation is not announced by EEC. We are kind of behind the scene man. For example, very soon you will hear about new rules and regulation for Suvarnabhumi Phase 3, Zone 3. And that will facilitate tremendously goods movement, shipping businesses. And that was part of our regulatory sandbox and guillotine process actually. But the announcement will be announced by the Customs Department. So together with them, we make changes to their rules. And next year, there will be many more new rules and regulations by the Ministry of Health as a result of the sandbox and guillotine that we work with them. Right, so that's all from me this morning. Please visit our website for more information. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, Dr. Luxmon. I could imagine there might be some questions here in the audience. Are there any questions for Dr. Luxmon? Please raise your hand and we will come with the microphone to you. There is a question in the front. Okay. Please raise your name, company, and ask the question you have in mind.
My name is Upbeat, and I'm from Upbeat. You presented an incredible, ambitious agenda, but also fantastically fascinating. It's going to require a lot of capital, especially human capital. How do you think you will realize that?
Thank you for the question. Human capital is one thing that we have been working on since before EEC is a law. At the moment, we do 2 tracks. One, we work with vocational education institutes and university to make changes to curriculums. It's demand driven, so we work with the private sector to make sure what they need and then embed that into the curriculum of vocational institutions and universities who are our partners. And to make sure that once students come out of the institutions, then they can actually work at the factory in the companies. And to do that, we have very good partnerships from many private companies. Very recently, we set up an automation center at Burapha University in this province, actually. And we have machines from Mitsubishi, from, I think, and a few more companies who actually put their line of machineries there so that the students can be hands-on. And when they come out of university, they can work with the machine immediately. So this is an example of how we do on human resource. Another part that we do is upskill and reskill of existing workforce. This is a continuous process, and this is basically short courses, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, to upgrade their skill to meet the future needs of technology. A lot more will have to be done, but the pilots that we do in the EEC is now being adopted by the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Higher Education. So we are hopeful that we will have human resource for future needs. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Khap khun ma khap. Because we're running a bit behind schedule, we'll leave it at here, but Dr. Luxmon will be with us the whole afternoon for any further questions. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this insightful presentation. And we learned already in her presentation that U-Tapao has ambitious plans as well for the future development. So our next speaker would be Mr. Edmond Lim, and he's from the U-Tapao Aviation and International Company, who will give us, through his slides, how can I say, the future plans and the futuristic look and feel of how the airport city might look like. So Mr. Edmond Lim, if we can ask a round of applause for our next speaker. And we'll give you the microphone. Microphone? Oh, there's the microphone. Okay.
It's like this one. Okay, yeah, you can press up to press. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you to the organizers, sponsors for having me here. I'm very happy to be here to represent U-Tapao. Maybe before I start, 2 simple introductions. I'm part of U-Tapao International Aviation. So there are 3 partner companies in this joint venture. We have Bangkok Airways, BTS Group, and Stacon, which is also known as Sino-Thai. So within these 3 companies, we have aviation expertise, transportation, real estate, and also construction. So I think it's a good mix. A little bit about myself before I go into the presentation. My name is Edmond Lim. I'm not Thai, I'm Singaporean. I will help to catch up a little bit on the time schedule. So Singaporeans, we walk fast, we eat fast, we speak very fast. So if I speak too quickly, please just stop me. I've been with Singapore Airlines about 20 years, so worked with many airports, took maybe too many flights. So now I'm helping with this project. Thank you. So let me just go on. Sorry. Okay, how do I move the slide? Just this up button, right? Okay. Is it a slide that you want to talk? Yes. Okay, so U-Tapao Airport Terminal 3 and the airport city just remains an idea for now. We haven't registered for the notice to proceed. So we'll be showing some artistic impressions of what the city could look like. So you will see this through my presentation. Sorry, every time I press up. This is the one. Okay. So this is today's agenda. Not very long, just a vision, the master plan, and some timelines for us to orientate ourselves. Okay, this is the vision for U-Tapao Airport City. There are really just three big parts. The first one is, of course, connectivity. This is I would say the working part, logistics, airport connectivity, flights. This is more the business part. For the leisure activities, I think we also want to be a city where people want to go. So it has to be a city of ideas, culture, where you go to refresh yourself, where you go to recharge yourself. So besides giving physical space, we will also give space for new thoughts, new philosophies. And the last part is the innovative infrastructure. Of course, we hope to be a city for the future. So you will see the latest technology and ways of doing things, a place of best practices. One key feature of the airport city will be sustainability. So there are 6 points here. I won't go into all of them, but I guess the big parts are land use, water, renewable energy. This will be a theme throughout the airport city. So in all our suppliers and vendors, we'll be looking for this aspect. Okay, just an artistic impression. Okay, with regard to the three big parts of the airport city master plan, we split into the airport terminal, the air cargo and logistics, and the city. I think the details are not as important as the land area. If you look at the land area, it's 400 rai for the terminal, 300 rai for air cargo and logistics, and about 1,000 rai for the city. So obviously the biggest piece is the city. In terms of capacity, when we are done with the airport, it will be able to process 60 million passengers a year, more than Don Mueang as it stands today. We also aim to build a fully holistic air cargo and logistics hub. We'll show one slide on that later, and I'll show some elements of the city in a while. Airport terminal. Like I said, it hasn't been built yet. Right now, I think there are a lot of working groups about what we hope for it to be. We have a designer of international standard, taking best practices from airports all over the world. We are in a very competitive part of the world with regard to airports. We have Hong Kong, Singapore, Seoul, all great airports with great success. We hope to take all these and crystallize it into one airport. Also, as cargo and logistics, again, the same hubs who pose the same challenges. We hope to take the same best practices and put them into U-Tapao. I think one unique feature of U-Tapao in terms of location would be the proximity of the 3 ports around U-Tapao. We take this as a strength, and we will build on this network. The city itself. So I kind of like this slide because the city itself is divided into 14 zones. The details are really too minute to go through. I just want to say that within this city, there will be a mix of all kinds of activity. We will have commercial, we will have residential, we will have an entertainment venue. We will have both aspirational elements and cultural elements and commercial elements. So we will have everything inside. The way we will develop this is that everything has to come together as one team. What we don't want is a very fragmented kind of city. So it has to be a city of ideas. That would be the common thread that will put all this together. Okay, you get a lot of these artistic impressions. So I think the only 2 things I want to mention are definitely we will have some kind of water element to break the normal monotony of a typical airport. And there's a huge entertainment venue because we hope for this airport city to be a place where people gather for special events. The capacity will be huge. For this slide, I think what I want to say is that we will definitely incorporate the latest technologies into the airport and the city. But I think the technology, it's easy to say we will take the latest technology. I think what's more important is that we should position ourselves that we can adapt to new technologies as they come along. Because the contract for the operation of the airport and the city is actually 50 years. So it cannot be something that is a once-off. It has to be something that evolves. So I think that's the challenge that my colleagues and I have for technology. One slide on the creative culture that we're trying to inbuild in this place. We really want it to be a place where people come to think of new ways of doing things, new ways to go out of the ordinary. So this theme is something that our designers are working on. And it's not just something that we say, we will actually build things, build the physical space for people to interact and be creative. So the key concepts is that we will have artists to come. We want to build a community. We want them to live there, work there, produce there, and for them to interact. Then after they have produced, we will also give them a venue to showcase what they have done. And yeah, we hope to create this. Okay, the last slide, which is a timeline slide, just to orientate us with regard to what we expect to happen. I think the milestone that was most recent was 19th of June 2020, when the contract for PPP was signed. So the next big one will be the NTP, the notice to proceed, which will be early next year. And we hope to complete by early 2025. And if we do, we will have another 47 years of operation according to the PPP contract. Okay? So a lot of work is being done now. I think we are at the stage where my colleagues and I have a lot of working groups. The topics are very diverse, from infrastructure master plan to utilities, demand forecast, and for the airport also design aspects. So I guess this is where I say that if any of you are interested to join any of these discussions, we're happy to receive your ideas. This is really the correct time. And we'll try to incorporate the best into what we're doing. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you indeed, Edmond. Thank you. I can imagine there's probably a question from this floor for Edmond. If there is a question, please raise your hand. If not, in the meantime, I have a question, Edmond. We discussed this morning. What would be the challenges? You're showing quite some futuristic how it will look like. What are the challenges what you are now currently face that this really will materialize and will be affected in the way you envisage that? Is that mostly the public part, or is it the private investment part? Where do you see the potential challenges you have?
I think I'll answer this from a very business point of view. I think we are in Asia. Like what I say, we have very successful hubs all around us, not only within the region, but also within Thailand and Bangkok. We have two huge airports, Suvarnabhumi and Don Mueang, which are good airports too. So the challenge for us is, what is the value proposition of U-Tapao Airport and the city? So the two challenges has to be tackled at the same time. It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. First, we have to get the traffic to come in, which means we have to give them a reason to come, so we have to invest and build. And yet we also need the people to come to generate the ideas to make this place interesting. So I guess we have to be the first mover, have the ambition, have the vision, build it, get people to come, and then we grow organically from there. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Perfect, it does. Any other questions from this floor? Yeah, Stefan on the side over there. Please state your name and your organization.
No, it's okay. Thank you. So my name is Stefan. I run a logistic company. I'm also the chair of the International Trade Committee from the Joint Foreign Chamber. And Dr. Luxmon will be my guest next week. One of the targeted industries was aviation. We know that prior to COVID, with the booming air industry, Boeing and Airbus was expected to come with their maintenance center together with Thai Airways. Now, I think that plan is more or less off, because none of them are right now interested. How much did that affect the U-Tapao planning of become a aircraft maintenance hub and all the spin-off of business from this? Okay, I look forward to your answer.
Thank you.
Dr. Luxmon as well.
Okay. You want to take your question?
It's on.
Sorry, I'm jumping to help here. because the UTA is working a lot on the terminal and the airport city, whereas the MRO part is the EEC responsibility. So basically, the TG and Airbus MRO project is sort of unfortunately on hold at the moment. Two reasons. Airbus says that it's not time for them to invest, and TG cannot invest because they are in the process of the court at the moment. So, but in the U-Tapao airport, we have this whole area that is called the MRO apron area. So the whole area can host up to 4 MROs. At the moment, we need to reserve a piece of land for TG. In any case, TG will have to have an MRO there, but in what form, what scale, that is to be done, to be discussed. And next year, beginning of next year, we will start doing sort of market sounding for MROs. At the moment, we have already interest from many airlines and companies to have MRO at the U-Tapao airport, because they foresee that into the future, when air travel resumes, they need an MRO in this region, not necessarily at U-Tapao, but in this region, ASEAN region anyway. So this U-Tapao MRO apron comes up as an opportunity. So by the beginning of next year, we do market sounding. We will have more exciting news to be announced on MRO. And on MROs, I can tell you that it will be new kind of technology. It's not people are looking at new business model of aviation. So MROs of the future will be slightly different from MROs of today. So to be continued. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And the gentleman of Airbus is also in the room, I see. So perhaps, Stefan, you can reach out to Olivier over there as well. Thank you very much. This concludes this morning's session, and I would like to ask for both speakers another round of applause, please. Thank you. As you know us, we like to be on time. We were strictly according to schedule. It's almost like a German time schedule, right? It's time for a break. We say farewell to our online viewers, and we welcome you back at 4 o'clock for the afternoon session. For the audience here, there are restaurants in this hotel for your lunch. For the ED colleagues and the other chamber colleagues, please join us for our internal meeting at 2 o'clock. So we welcome you all back at 3:30 with another coffee break. And I would like to say thank you very much for your participation here. Thank you for asking questions and sharing your thoughts and ideas. Also to all our speakers here in front. And if the guest on the front row would like to stay here for a group picture. But thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you at 3:30 this afternoon. Kap kun kap.